Hello, and welcome to Candidates Upfront, a public interest election program of Berks Community Television and the League of Women Voters of Berks County. Our November 7th general election is coming up. Citizens who are 18 or older will vote for judges, school directors, and township, borough, and city officials. The deadline to register to vote is October 23rd. To check your voting status, go to vote.pa.gov. That's vote.pa.gov. You can register, change your party, locate your polling place, or apply for an absentee or mail-in ballot. And the deadline to apply for those is October 31st. If you are looking for information on statewide, school, or township races or borough officials, please use the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. That's vote411.org. And for information on countywide and Reading candidates, please stay tuned. The League interviewed candidates in contested races, those who wanted to be interviewed, and for each race, the candidates got the same basic questions and had the same amount of time to answer them. For the League, I'm Judith Cranus, and let's begin.
Hi, I'm Bill Litfin, a member of the League of Women Voters of Berks County. The featured office today is Reading City Council President. The President of City Council is elected citywide and must be a resident of the city. The President presides at council meetings and performs those duties needed to organize council functions. He or she has the same voting powers as the other 6 district council members. The President interacts with the mayor and other government entities and represents the voice of council. The position is part-time, the term is 4 years, and the current annual salary is $5,500. There are 3 candidates: Democrat Donna Reed, Republican Evelyn W. Morrison, and Christian Party Melvin Padilla Santos. Each candidate's views are their own and not those of the League or BCTV. Today, our candidate is Melvin Padilla Santos. Welcome.
Thank you.
Melvin, please tell our viewers about yourself and why you are running.
Thank you, Bill. Good evening. Good evening. I was born in Bayamón, Puerto Rico. I came to Reading in 1986 from Detroit, Michigan. I am a father and married and 6 beautiful children. I currently and for many years working as a pastor, as a chaplain, and also sitting as the treasurer of Pastor Association here in Reading, Pennsylvania. I basically most of the time I am involved as a public servant.
What personal qualities do you have that would help you be an effective council president?
Sure. I believe the interpersonal, organizational skills that I bring forward, the communication skills, my military background, communication skills will help me move forward in the near future.
Okay. Do you think Penn Street is healthy and successful? And if not, what will you change to make it healthy and successful?
When I first got here, it seemed to be very, very busy. Actually busier than what it is today. So we really, really miss that atmosphere, and we really need to bring that back into our city. So I think we could really, really improve its successful rate and bring in different ideas and perspective to help blossom Penn Street.
Okay. Any specifics on that, or you're just hoping to?
Well, looking to improve, or one of the big issues that, and I know many know this already, but is the violence. And
okay.
it shuns people away. So we want to improve and advance security on Penn Street and have it a more welcoming atmosphere.
Okay. What do you see as the biggest issues that Reading will face in the next 4 years?
Actually, tail end of that is violence. I think if we don't tackle that now, if we do not confront this now, and using different measurements it will be a potential problem, and it will disturb business, and I think more importantly, the educational institutions that are very, very important, not for yourself and I, but also for our children that are behind us.
Okay. Some in our community say that Reading has traffic problems and parking problems. How would you mitigate those concerns or change the situation?
That seems, it's one of the top 5, if you will, potential problems or complaints of our residents. And I think that's another issue we need to confront. And the way we could do that is actually having sit-down meetings with different departments, in case in point, Parking Authority, and discussing these matters and confronting these matters, and that they're there to be reminded they are there as a organization to serve and not to oppress our residents.
Okay. Now, my next question you've kind of touched on already, but try to make sure we phrase this correctly.
Okay.
What are the most important concerns of the people of the city? And you already talked about parking and crime, so, beyond that.
Sure. Well, there are different concerns that the residents express on a day-to-day basis when I talk with them. And obviously, violence, the parking, the drugs, the crime, the quality of life of different residents it's not where we believe it should be. And I think we should also have meetings and address those issues, because sooner or later they will surface.
Okay. And how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process?
Sure. I believe that's key. I believe having not just conversations, but having a collaboration of different leaders in the community. So, not just the business leaders, but also the ecclesiastical leaders that come to the table, nonprofit organizations and so forth that can come to the table and see how we can elevate our city and help it.
Okay. When council is approving a mayoral appointment, what criteria will you consider in your response?
I think it's very important that we have leaders that come to a position that have an upright character, that they do not lean left or right in different perspectives or commitments, because this will influence, this will affect generations to come. So upright character, diversity, an individual who loves the city and loves to see that younger generations flourish.
Okay. Blighted properties. Some say that they should be fixed, some say they should be redeveloped, and some say they should be repurposed. How would you address the issue of blighted properties in the city?
That has been a problem for many, many, many years. And we know that in our city, the city has evolved into more of a renting a city and so forth, which there are different ways of going about that and correcting that problem. I'm a firm believer that we should have ownership of our own home and have pride for our home. But having those properties in that condition, I think, is very important, that we sit down with the companies or the owners of these buildings and see where they're at. And talk to the offices, zoning, and so forth, to see what can be done. Will it be more expensive to just demolish the building, or would it be more effective to just renew it? Go to sit down with the owners of the property, and after inspections and all that, we can see where we're at.
Okay. Most of the time, and this is a little different from what you were talking about earlier, but most of the time, we think of Reading as a safe place to work, live, and visit. Yet violence related to drugs, gangs, and disagreements hurts its neighborhoods and reputation. What can the city do to thwart this violence?
First, I would say I came here in 86, 87, and I can remember it was a little disturbing to me, because I came from Detroit, Michigan, which was a very, very violent atmosphere at that time. And as a child, I grew up a little bit there. But coming here, it was like late night, late evening, and windows were still open. The doors were still open, and neighbors were real friendly to each other. So I believe that what we need to do is establish faith. There was a constant faith, faith in God, a high morale, just decent respect to human, beings, and seeking a good structure that will materialize and look to advance. I think that's very important, that we build that commodity, that security among our own neighbors, knowing who lives down the street. I think that's one of the things that we are deficient today. We don't know who lives 5 houses down or 10 houses down, and I think that presents a problem.
Okay, I think I moved here in 1986 too.
Oh,
That's
okay.
86, 87. It's
Okay.
kind of the same memory as you have. Not sure, but around that time. Budget decisions are hard. Sometimes the services that people enjoy, like parks and libraries, are underfunded so that things people need, like police and street repair, can be properly funded. How will you prioritize spending when you vote on the budget?
I would prioritize in seeking what is mostly needed at that particular time. However, I wouldn't let that drown at that certain level. I would seek different sources, whether that be nonprofit or profit, and have conversations with different organizations that can help bring whatever the city may not be able at that time to cover. I'm sure having and building relationships with others can help us move forward. But that's something we must approach that's regardless of the financial state that the city may be in. We must have a different mindset in seeking, helping, and covering. The parks, the recreational parks are critical.
Definitely. What is the one thing you most hope to accomplish if elected? Your number one priority?
Number one priority. That is a very good question.
Not an easy one either.
No, it's not. No, it's not, Bill. And it's because of the multiple issues that we do have in the city, starting from the local government and to commercial. I believe that we need to address and confront the violence in the city. Now, some people may have a different opinion about that, which I respect. However, we're all trying to have a quality of life. But if something impedes that, when you think you're actually earning or increasing, you will end up spending or having some type of deficiencies because of the violence, because of the injustices that are happening currently.
Okay, I'm going to combine two of the questions. What are your ideas to make Reading an attractive place for families and for businesses? Sure.
I believe that at the core, family is very, very, very important. It all starts in the household. It all starts in the household, and that's something that my wife reminds me constantly, and my children, God bless them, and it's very important. So to see, when we would travel to go to different places, seeing different attractions, and we get there, and to see that place blossom and be fruitful and be blessed. I strongly believe that can also happen here. How, we can, the historical sites that are already intact, renew them, expand, just have a much more aggressiveness to it that can attract others, outsiders, if you will, to the city of Reading. But I go back to saying that we must address other concerns before we do that.
Okay. Are you active in any volunteer organizations? And if you are, please share what other things you do in your non-working activities.
Sure. Thank you. I am currently working with Hope Rescue Mission, Mary's Shelter, different nonprofit organizations that myself, my children, we volunteer. My wife volunteers, And we stay busy. We stay busy because we care. We care for our city.
Okay. Well, you have a couple of minutes for your closing statement. Actually, you probably have 3 minutes if you want to stretch it out a bit.
Well, thank you. Thank you. As City Council President, I am ready to restore, revive, and renew our city by making a way for those that are behind us. We are all concerned. We all share different concerns. The violence or the lack of employment, seeing how the city has evolved, and knowing the potential that it can give, and it seems like it's a little stagnant. But I, myself, my wife, my family, we truly believe that we can make a difference. And if elected November 7th, God willing, by faith and the voters, we will make a difference. We will definitely make a difference. Every child matters, and I think I can't say enough about that. We want to educate. We want to do well in business. We want to progress, but we must tackle these issues in the House, in the city, before we can advance. So I call on the business leaders. I call on the ecclesiastical leaders. I call on every leader in every household that can come together shoulder to shoulder as we move forward come November 7th, that we mean business. We mean business, and we care for the city of Reading.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Melvin Padilla-Santos, for sharing your views with our viewers.
Thank you.
Viewers, please remember there are 2 other candidates for City Council President, Donna Reed, Democrat, and Evelyn W. Morrison, Republican. You will find candidates up front, interviews on BCTV and its website and YouTube page. For more information on candidates, go to the League's online voters guide, vote411.org. vote411.org. I'll repeat that because I'm stumbling. Vote411.org. Or contact the Berks County Election Services at elections@countyofberks.com or 610-478-6490. Thank you for watching Candidates Up Front. I'm Bill Litfin. Good day.